So I wanted to cover the New York lemon laws that I had looked up, and you can see which cars are covered by it. Car must meet all of the following conditions if it was bought, leased, or transferred after 18,000 miles or 2 years from the original delivery. Of course, it's a 2007 vehicle, and I bought it in 2025, so that's over 2 years. It had just under 44,000 miles over it, so this applies. You bought or leased it from a New York dealer. Of course, Audi Brooklyn is in New York. Price or lease value was at least $1,500, and of course, I think it was about $12,500 that I paid for it. It had been driven fewer than 100,000 miles, and of course, it's listed as just under 44,000 miles, and it was used primarily for personal purposes. So, of course, it's a personal vehicle for me. The length of the warranty, I would fall into here, just under 44,000 miles, 60 to 3,000 miles. It's covers a number of things. What does it cover? Water pump, the transmission, the drive axles, a number of things which would be covered under it here. But the thing is, you have to take it back to the dealer, and they're supposed to try, to do it their own goodwill to try to repair it over 3 or more attempts, right? And the problem is with this, a couple things. I'd have to get the vehicle all the way back from Fargo, North Dakota, all the way back to Brooklyn, New York, and that's about over 1,400 miles. And for me to ship the vehicle from Brooklyn, New York to Fargo, North Dakota, cost me $1,650. So I'm assuming it'd be similar to go to in the reverse direction. And then, of course, after they did repair it, it would have to pay another $1,650 back. And of course, it's not drivable. I mean, the other idea is assuming that you could drive it, just drive it back, you get it for cheaper. Except that I don't even dare drive it, at all, given all the problems coming from, the transmission and coming from the water pump. And so that was one consideration, was the distance. The other consideration, of course, if you read the reviews, you can't trust the service department either, right? So it looks like you can't trust anybody in Audi Brooklyn. You can't trust, the salespeople, and you can't trust, the service department. So I didn't trust that they would fix it. So I was wondering what to do. I looked for a New York lawyer. Now, the New York lawyers, I couldn't find one that would take the case. The few that I did find, one of them, they would only work with newer vehicles, and of course the 2007 was 18 years old. Or the few that I did speak to, they felt that it wouldn't be profitable for me. So, after all the lawyer and other fees, so I couldn't get a lawyer. And so I was wondering what to do, and I was speaking to the New York Attorney General's office, and I was speaking to a nice lady there, and she suggested that instead of the lemon law, that what I should do was do a fraud case. And of course, this made a whole lot of sense because there's a lot of fraud going on here. They represented this vehicle as being, a very good vehicle that only needed a battery and a belt to be fixed. And of course, there's all kinds of problems with it. Over $6,000 in mechanical repairs. Had been in an accident. Over $3,000 in bodywork repairs, and over $10,000 in damages. And this doesn't even include the electrical problems. So a lot of fraud there, a lot of lying, a lot of deception, a lot of misrepresentation, and a lot of fraud. So that's why I'm going for the fraud case. And, I got to apologize. Why is it so late? Well, a couple of reasons. One, in general, I don't have a lot of time to myself. And there have been lots of issues, with the Lexus to cover and document. I mean, you got the suspension problems, the water pump problems, the transmission problems, the battery and the electrical problems, and of course the collision problems. And there's been a lot of things to cover, in the videos that I wanted to get them all online there. And then other things, just taking time in my own life. My garage, it kept getting broken into. Things are stolen, and eventually we changed it from the entry to a keypad, and this seems to work. Fortunately, there was only some small items stolen. Both the Lexus and my Honda are still in the garage. But then after that, then suddenly the garage door wouldn't open, and we go, surprise, and we needed to get the spring changed. And it seemed I got sick, for a while. I was really, all I wanted to do was just sleep, but I didn't feel sick, but I wasn't coughing or sneezing or anything, but I was just really, really tired. And then I had a lot of computer issues. I mean, things that were very, very strange, very, very mysterious. I wanted to put in a video card into the computer, and it just, everything went really strange. I couldn't get to the BIOS, or I couldn't get the display to work, and I spent a number of weekends, troubleshooting the computers and ordering more hardware and waiting for parts to arrive, and so all kinds of stuff. And I'd had new DisplayPort to VGA adapters and had problems, and so I bought a video card and still had the same problem. Oh, well, it's got to be the switch, so I changed the KVM switch, still the same problem. Bought a screen, and again, I still had the same problems, and then it turned out to be, again, the DisplayPort to VGA adapters, and I'd put new ones in there, and they were bad right out of the box. So, and then I had a microphone that didn't work, so I had to buy another one of those, and then of course we had the software issues of the video editing software. I had to go and install, a number of different, video editing software packages in order to do what I wanted to do. And then of course I got the learning curve to learn it, and some things just didn't work, just didn't want to work, so I had to do some workarounds. And then of course, creating all the content. Each video took a long time, and of course, I don't speak all that well, so sometimes I had to do multiple takes. And of course, I wanted to cover everything right the first time. I didn't want to go back. Oh well, I missed something here. So there's a lot to cover, and other reasons, it's just been a rather painful process. So I'm sorry it's taken so long. I hope the lawyers at Audi Brooklyn will not take so long, and they'll see the case that I have, and they will do the right thing.